What's up, you guys? Nick here from One Up Games with another top 10 list. And I figure since it's October, why not talk about some horror games, specifically zombie games. That's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite video games featuring zombies. Let's jump right into it. Number 10, Plants vs. Zombies. Now this isn't a scary game, but it is a game including zombies, and it's really fun. Raise your hand if you haven't played Plants vs. Zombies. Everybody's played Plants vs. Zombies. Most of the time it's been on the mobile phone. For me, actually, it was on the Nintendo DS. This was one of the games that on my DS Lite I played a shit ton of. And there's just so many different cool animations as far as the different zombies that attack you. There's not really much that needs to be said about this game. It's just some simple fun. It's really cool. Plants vs. Zombies, number 10. Number 9 is a game that I didn't get to play until just a few years ago, and it is called Oh No, More Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Puts you back into the world of the original Zombies Ate My Neighbors, but the game is random at the very first level with the weapon that you are given is not the water pistol, which kind of sucks because maybe you didn't value that water pistol in the first game as much as you should, but when you start with something like the fire hydrant, which can't kill anything, that can set you back. This game, I believe, is even harder than the original game. One of the most annoying things about Oh No is football players. The football players can't hurt you, but they just knock you all over the screen. And there's a lot of times where you'll find yourself in a level trying to get to a neighbor, and the football guys are smacking you around, and then an enemy kills that neighbor because of the stupid football players. Next up, I want to talk about Dead Island. It's been a very long time since I played Dead Island. I only played through it once. Not really normally a first-person type of dude, but Dead Island was great, and I'm actually really excited. I think December 31st of this year, we get Dead Island 2, which is great because I can still remember that trailer of the dude running down Venice Lake Beach in California, and like all this shit's like happening behind him, and that was a really sick trailer, and then it was just like, what the f happened to Dead Island 2? But Dead Island, first person view, you're mainly using melee weapons through the majority of the game. You can get guns, but it's really fun just kind of crafting stuff. Good sense of urgency, a little bit creepy at times. First person, but it's still fun. Up number 7, the classic, the legendary. I love going back and still playing the original Resident Evil's Director's Cut. Resident Evil, the first survival horror game I ever played. Seeing the zombie turn, again, you guys know, if you haven't played Resident Evil and you're watching this, you're kind of stupid. I actually prefer Jill. I believe the Chris to be a little bit too hard, and not so much that because you start with the knife, it's just not having the 8 slots and starting with the 6. That's tough in an already pretty difficult game. Up at number 6, I'm going to go with the original Dead Rising for the Xbox 360. Frank West, what a fun character. He brought a Bruce Campbell comical feel to a pretty dark game when you first start Dead Rising. You are in this helicopter and you're riding into this Colorado town. I can't really remember the name of the town right now off the top of my head, but it was one of the coolest intros to a video game at that point in my life that I had ever played. You were just taking pictures of the chaos ensuing. It felt like George Romero, Night of the Living Dead shit, right from the very beginning. Then you get inside, it feels like Dawn of the Dead. You're inside of this mall in Willamette, Colorado. Boom, it just came to me. And you're constantly just running around the mall and trying to find survivors to bring back to your safe house. This game is so good because, again, of the Bruce Campbell, kind of the Evil Dead humor. One second. Thanks for calling One Up Games, isn't it, Nick? I guess not. I just wanted to fuck up my shot. This was the first time that I had seen hundreds, or at least 100 zombies on the screen all at once. And when you can get into the car and just start mowing them down in the courtyard, that's a great time. Number 5, you guys, is for me is going to be the classic Resident Evil 2, my most played Resident Evil game ever. Leon's my boy, Claire's awesome, except for the crossbow's kind of shitty. So many one-liners to remember. That guy's a maniac. Why do you bite me? The 4 campaigns, Tofu, Hunk, Mr. X, William Birkin, Sherry Birkin. It's Resident Evil 2. And yes, back in the day, the win a part in the movie, I did sign up for that. I didn't get it. Number four. Surprise if you're watching this list of zombie games. I fucking love Resident Evil, and Resident Evil 4 has got to be number 4 on this list. Again, Leon, we're coming back. He's protecting the president's daughter this time, or at least trying to get her back from these weird dudes called the Las Plagas. Intro to this game is one of the best intros to any video game ever. Just showing up into this town, having to survive the chainsaw dude. There's one moment in this game where you actually have to barricade yourself inside of this house with this other dude. It's a 2-story like cabin house. And the Plagas are trying to put ladders up to the 2nd story. They're trying to break through the windows, knock over your barricades, and get to you. So you have to fight them back, try to re-barricade shit. It was my favorite thing in this entire game, is that like little 5-minute section. So much so where I would want an entire video game just like that and call that shit Night of the Living Dead. Thank you, Resident Evil 4. You're a great game with all that other stuff too. But just that one spot when you're in the cabin and you're guarding yourself, God, that's a fun fucking time. Thank you. Okay, number 3 for me, I'm jumping right back into Resident Evil 2 Remastered for the PS4. I don't have a copy here in front of me. I don't have one here in the store to sell either. That's how good this fucking game is. Now, it's kind of sad because I already have Resident Evil 2 on my list at number 5, but Resident Evil 2 Remastered is my now favorite Resident Evil game ever. They took all the great qualities in the story and they just made it so much more smooth with the 3rd person, the Mr. X shit following you the entire game. What a fun experience. Resident Evil 2 Remastered. It's still my game of the year, I think, right now in 2019. Boom. So I don't have a copy of this game as well here in the shop, but I do have 2 copies of the first one, so I'll just hold both of them up. Number 2 is Dead Rising 2. Chuck Green, you're my man. Chuck Green is more of this dramatic character where he's a single father that has to find the Zombrex shot every 24 hours for his daughter. If he doesn't, then she's fucked. There's something so cool about that he's just the kind of this stern person thrown into this like silly, Evil Dead Army of Darkness world where everyone around him is trying to be lighthearted and he's just kind of stern. It works so well. The fact that there's like, I think 6 different endings to it. I have beat this game so many times, more than 6 times, because of course I had to finish all of those. But then it's like, oh, I gotta go back and oh wow, you can find this tiger and you can get the tiger to come to your house? What? And number 1. My favorite zombie game ever is probably also my favorite video game ever. Just depends on the mood. And that is Zombies Ate My Neighbors, the original Super Nintendo, Konami, LucasArts, coming together, putting together one of the best 2-player experiences ever. I've beat Zombies Ate My Neighbors now about 5 times. It is 48 levels long. On the box it does say 55 undeadly levels, but there are 7 bonus stages throughout the game. You can find the bonus stages if you find this little block that has a question mark within the level before it. Amazing weapons. All of the Universal monsters there. A banging soundtrack. Some of the best music, I think, on the Super Nintendo. We just need this game to be remastered. Can't you see this on the Switch, you guys? Can't you see this even on like the PS4? Keep the top down. Keep the cartoony like element to it. Don't try to turn this into a first-person shooter. Just give us this game with a fresh coat of paint, like you did with, say, something like Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove, and you've got my fucking money. Please. And if you want to, make it 4-player. Introduce 2 new characters. Maybe have the original 2 characters and their kids. Boom. This was my top 10 list of my favorite zombie video games. I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave any comments down below. If you've played any of these games, please let me know about any other zombie games that I might have missed. Like, some people are gonna be like, oh wow, how could you leave out Left 4 Dead 2? Thanks for watching. I'll have more videos coming up really soon. Happy Halloween.